Hello, I'm Secretary of State Kris Warner, and I serve as the Chief Business Officer for the state of West Virginia. Part of my responsibility is to make sure that West Virginia is positioned to help create a strong pro-business environment to help grow our state's economy. To do that, my office is working to promote the services and programs available throughout the state to help support entrepreneurs and small business owners. This is part of a video series we call Just 3 Questions. These videos are a series of short interviews that I'll conduct with West Virginia business leaders and entrepreneurs. Joining me for this edition of Just 3 Questions is West Virginia University's 27th President, Dr. Michael T. Benson. Dr. Benson, thank you for welcoming me back to the downtown campus of WVU here in Morgantown. I think it was 45 years ago I was sitting in a classroom here on the downtown campus. But
well, welcome back.
Thank you for welcoming us here.
Thank you. Our pleasure. Thank you.
Dr. Benson brings 3 decades of academic and administrative experience in higher education to West Virginia's land-grant institution. I know you have embarked on a welcome home tour of all 55 counties. I know I had the chance to visit all 55 counties after being elected and taking office. I found it very informative and quite frankly reminded me of how different this state can be in the various regions. But how is your tour going and what have you learned about the Mountain State and our people?
Well, first off, I'm delighted to have you back on campus, and the tour has been fantastic. I really have to give a lot of credit to my staff that have put together the itineraries and the schedule. But it's been quite an adventure. We started at the end of July when I first got to Morgantown. And that first tour, we were gone for a week, and we knocked out 18 counties in a week. Okay. And then we've tried to kind of schedule moments where I can get away from campus and do them incrementally. But I'm now up to 34 or 55. And okay. I'm all the way down to Mingo and Logan counties and up through the Eastern Panhandle and Northern Panhandle. And I think it's very important for the people of West Virginia to see the president of their university. It's not my university. It doesn't belong to Gord Gee or anybody else. Mm-hmm. This is the university that belongs to the people of West Virginia. It's their university. So I may be the face of it, but there are faculty and staff that do the daily work of producing graduates and making the alumni, we hope, even more proud of that diploma that hangs on their wall. So everywhere I've gone as a historian, I've fallen in love with the history of the state. And I grew up in Texas, and Texans love their history. Mm-hmm. But I would say West Virginians love their history just as much, if not more. I've talked to the superintendent of schools and tried to convince them that the folks there that they'll let me take the Golden Horseshoe exam, see how I do. I've got some more studying to do, but I just love the fact that 8th graders are immersed at this point in their life, their educational trajectory, and to learn about their state. And I just find it incredibly inspiring, and people are proud of that history. And it in so many ways informs what one finds in these very different counties. You know, we lived in Kentucky for almost 8 years on the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, and so we're familiar with Appalachian culture and history and tradition and so forth. But to go from place to place and see the industry, to see WVU Medicine's facilities in a lot of these counties, to see our extension offices has really been inspiring. And you asked what I learned about the people. People here are kind, they're generous, they're gritty, they're tough, mm-hmm. They're proud. They're proud without being, in your face and braggadocio about it. They're proud of their history. They're proud of what they're able to accomplish. But in many ways, it's representative of the way I was raised, a family that valued those same kind of, I think, traditions and characteristics. And so I've really come to love it and appreciate the people here. And we love it. We love the Mountain State.
Well, you mentioned the extension offices. I know those that are in the farming world really count on that in every county.
They do.
And so I think one of the social media accounts that I saw of you had you could see it in the people's faces. They're smiling that you're there and paying attention. So that's great.
Well, thank you.
You set an ambitious goal of getting West Virginia University into the Association of American Universities, which is an organization of the nation's leading research universities that transform lives through education, research, and innovation. So why is that membership so important, and how can it enhance job creation here in West Virginia?
Well, my latest book was about one of the founding presidents of the AAU. His name is Daniel Coit Gilman. He was the first president of Johns Hopkins University, which in so many ways is the archetype of the research university that we know in America today. The first time it had ever been tried in 1876 in Baltimore. And about 24 years later, a group of 5 presidents got together and said, we need standards for graduate programs in our country, because you can basically pay enough money and go get a PhD and then give you a diploma, or become a medical doctor. And so there were standards that needed to be instituted, and that grew into invitations to public institutions, large land grant institutions. It's up to 69 now in America, 71 if you add the 2 Canadian schools. But it is the gold standard, and what I mean by that is it's the finest research universities that attract the most research dollars and award the most research PhDs. So how that would benefit our state is significant. Number one, it would be a tremendous emphasis on the quality of our programs, the quality of our faculty, the members of our faculty that are members of the national academies. So it attract more, even more highly qualified. We have very highly qualified faculty now, but you'd get the best of the best that would take a look at West Virginia if you're a member of that organization. Number two, your chances to get research dollars increases exponentially. About 60% of the R&D that comes from the federal government goes to AAU institutions. Like I said, there are only 69 of them, and there are 4,000 universities in America. So that gives you an idea that they take the lion's share of those. They earn them, and we do very well here. I mean, last year was a record year for us in terms of R&D. And number three, I think you attract even more qualified, more ambitious, more eager students to the university, and staff that want to work at an AAU institution. All that said, it benefits the state, because we would be the only AAU school here. There's not an AAU school in Kentucky. There are a couple in Virginia, certainly you get down to the Carolinas. But that's a distinction that would really, I think, be a wonderful thing for the state to be proud of. So it's a long road. I'll give you an example. 2023, University of South Florida was admitted, only the second public university in that state. And we were in the Big East with USF a few years ago. And if you look at the institutional profile of WVU and USF, very comparable, large land grant institutions, or excuse me, public institutions. They have a health system like ours, but you look at WVU Medicine and how that's changed the trajectory of health outcomes for our state. There's so many benefits, but it's going to be a long road to get there. But the more I talk about it with our faculty and staff, I think the more excited people get about it.
Great. WVU is a finalist for the $160 million National Science Foundation's Regional Innovation Engines Award. That's a huge opportunity. How do you think this will help West Virginia?
Well, that would be hands down our largest grant in our history. And it bears mentioning that we have 2 partner institutions that people have heard about: Pitt, University of Pittsburgh, which is a member of the AAU, and Carnegie Mellon, another member of the AAU. So we're what they call the primary PI, principal investigator. So when a big grant is awarded, you have one institution that kind of leads the way, and Carnegie Mellon and Pitt are partners with us. But this would be a game changer for us. And I know people use that, maybe overuse that, but it's true, because that puts us in a category of research institutions that if you're able to attract a grant that size, it suggests you have the infrastructure, you have the personnel, you have the wherewithal, you have the vision of being able to be considered for something like that. So we will have a site visit from the team, the NSF team that will be here in January, and we'll see what happens. We're one of just a handful of finalists. So just to get to this point is pretty exciting.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
We'll keep you in our prayers. Thank you very much for joining us for just 3 questions today, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.